Erev Tov to everybody. It's a great joy to be able to share this video with you now before Acharon Shal Pesach. First of all, I'd like to dedicate this video to our dear, wonderful member, the late Dave Isaacs, Zichrono Livracha. The shul's gone through a bit of a difficult time, that over and above being part of Klal Yisrael and experiencing the difficulties of the coronavirus. The Ashur in particular in the last week or so have had, first of all, Jake Cohen, Zichrono Livracha, who was a Baal Koreh for many a year. He passed away. And recently Dave Isaacs, who was also a wonderful member of Ashur. And I'd like to dedicate this video Le'ilui Nishmato, in his memory. There was also Mrs. Aricha. Beni Aricha was part of the Dora Hemshech. So all in all, it hasn't been like an easy time for Klal Yisrael in particular, and also for Ashur in particular. And there was a little bit of good news that David Fried became a grandfather, and we wish him and his daughters, his wife, the whole mishpacha, that they should have a lot of mazel tov and nachas, and that they should be zocher, that the daughter, that should experience a lot of nachas, tizkul gadla letorah lechuppah ulemaasim tovim. But al kol panim, the main dedication, as I said, is that the Divrei Torah is Le'ilu Nishmat Dave Isaac Zichrono Livracha. I first of all wanted to just share with you a very short halacha, the inyan of Yizkor. We say Yizkor as usual on the seventh day of Pesach, even though we're saying it in private. It's not a problem. We say the part of the Yizkor in which we mention the deceased person's name who we want to commemorate, and we pledge at tzedakah, that it should be some form of a zechut, a merit, and kapara for them in Gan Eden. Actually, originally, the minhag of Yizkor, the Ramah says, was only on Yom Kippur. And the reason that people pledged then money Le'ilu Nishmat, their deceased, was that Yom Kippur is a time of atonement, not only for the living, but also for the dead, the deceased. That's why it's called, according to many people, Yom Kippurim. The word Kippurim is plural. In other words, a double atonement for the people who are living, an atonement for the people who've passed away. And in order that they should have merit, so the living gave on behalf of the behalf of the dead, and that was the original minhag of Yizkor. The Ramah, who was the posek for the Ashkenazim, he brings only that minhag of Yizkor. There wasn't such a thing as Yizkor as far as to be recited on the Shalosh Regalim. In fact, it's a little bit of an anomaly. Why? Because Yom Tov is a time in which we've got, the Torah tells us, v'samachta b'chagecha. We have to be happy and full of joy during our festivals. And by reciting Yizkor, what it does is it arouses feeling of longing, feeling of sadness. And therefore, Dafka the Ramah says we shouldn't be saying Yizkor during the Shalosh Regalim. Al kol panim, the Ma'aril, who was also the last of the Rishonim, and he is responsible for bringing many minhagim of Ashkenaz. And he said that, we do Yizkor also on the Shalosh Regalim. And I don't want to go into what the background was, how it actually happened, but that's become the minhag. And we recite Yizkor then in private, and we should say the words Bli Neder, because so that we shouldn't get involved and in the complexities of having to, if it's a vow, then immediately one has to pay the vow as soon as possible. Otherwise, there's a problem of delaying a vow. So one should say Bli Neder. As far as the other part of the Niskor, which one says the Kel Malei Rachamim, even on normal conditions, normal times, there are many people who don't say it. So if you want to, you can. If you don't want to, you don't have to. So the Kitzur Yizkor applies in private as usual. I wanted to share with you a short idea about the seventh day of Pesach, in which we read about the Shira. So in Pashat B'Shalach, the Pasha starts off that Moshe Rabbeinu, what he did was, together with all Am Yisrael, they left Egypt, and Moshe Rabbeinu took out the bones of Yosef. And the Torah tells us he took out the bones of Yosef because Yosef had subjected the Jewish people to an oath that when they leave Mitzrayim, that they should take the remains of Yosef to Eretz Israel. So that's what Moshe Rabbeinu did, and the Gemara in Masechet Sotah elaborates that while everyone else was asking for the Egyptians at the behest of HaKadosh Baruch Hu for clay kesef or clay zahav, all sorts of utensils of gold and silver, but Moshe was busy of first of all searching for the place where exactly was Yosef buried, and after having found it, so he took the remains with him to Eretz Israel. And the problem is that, of course, why was Moshe Rabbeinu the one who's taking out the bones of Yosef? I mean, who would be the most natural, the one who we would expect should take out the bones of Yosef? Surely it should be his family, his mishpacha, right? The tribes of Ephraim and Menashe, the children of Yosef. Why is it that Moshe, of all people, he's the ones who is now busying himself with taking out the remains of Yosef with Am Yisrael to Eretz Israel? And the problem gets a little bit more acute because Moshe Rabbeinu comes from the tribe of Levi, and the main culprits in carrying out the sale of Yosef was Shimon and Levi. You can look in Pashat Vayechi when Yaakov is on his deathbed, and what he's doing is he gathers all the tribes together, and he wants to give a bracha to every one of the tribes, or to speak to them about what their characteristics are, who they really are, because if they know who they are, then they're able to plan their lives in such a way that they can avoid certain pitfalls, or that they can focus on their strengths. So when speaking about Shimon and Levi, the Torah tells us Yaakov made the following observation. He said, Shimon v'Levi achim. Shimon and Levi are brothers. Klei chamas mecherotehem. That stolen tools are their weapons. And Rashi says, what does it mean, Shimon v'Levi achim? Surely they were brothers. Of course we know that they were brothers. What does it have to say that they were brothers? And Rashi says that they were brothers, in other words, they were of one mind, ba'etza achat. And in other words, they were on the same page. They saw eye to eye on a couple of things. Rashi says, number one, they were of one mind concerning Shechem. When Dinah was abducted, so what they did was they went in Shechem, and we all know the story. They wiped out Shechem, and they took Dinah back. And the second time that they were saw eye to eye was concerning Yosef, because it says in the Torah, "Vayomru eshel achiv," that when the brothers saw Yosef, when they saw him approaching, so it says they said to one another, "V'ata lechu nargeu, let us now go and kill him." And who was speaking? Rashi explains that the people who made this conversation was Shimon and Levi, and that's why they were called Achim. So the whole point is that why is Moshe Rabbeinu the one who comes from Shevet Levi, why is he taking out the remains, the bones of Yosef to Eretz Yisrael? And of course, the question is the answer, because the whole point of Moshe as a member of Shevet Levi, was that he wanted to do tshuva. In other words, on the 7th, I wanted to now just elaborate on this a little bit. On the last day of Pesach is a time in which there's the culmination, so to speak, of the first phase of the going out of Egypt. This is the beginning of the Geulah. The Am Yisrael was in Mitzrayim, they came out, and when they came out, the 7th day is when there was Kriyat Yamsuf, and the Egyptians are drowned in the water. And this ends phase number 1, in which there was a complete Geulah, a complete redemption from Mitzrayim. And what the Torah is trying to say now is that the real meaning of redemption, the real concept of Geulah, of what does it mean to be redeemed? It means to be redeemed from sin. That's what redemption really means. And when a person has been redeemed from sin, for all that which is evil, from the communal point of view, from the individual point of view, that's when we can speak about redemption. And therefore, when the Torah speaks about the redemption from Egypt and from Kriyat Yamsuf, it emphasizes that Moshe Rabbeinu, the one who came from Shevet Levi, who was responsible for the sale of Yosef, and the sale of Yosef was the first stage of the Am Yisrael coming to Egypt. Now, when that stage has been complete and they're going out of Egypt, so the correction, the fixing up, the doing tshuva for the sale of Yosef is done by none other than Moshe Rabbeinu, who is, as we said, who comes from the Shevet of Levi, and he is the one now who is fixing up what Levi did in the sale of Yosef. And in fact, what the Gemara in Masechet Sotat elaborates is that when did the full act of tshuva, when was the sin of Yosef, the sale of Yosef, when was it really corrected? When the Jewish people entered in Eretz Yisrael and they brought the remains of Yosef to his burial place. In other words, they buried him near Shechem. This is the territory that belongs to the tribe of Yosef. And Shechem was the place from where Yosef was sent to go and from Hebron, this is where he was sent. He came to Shechem, and in the vicinity of Shechem, this is when the brothers attacked him and when they sold him. So the full circle of tshuva was done when he was attacked, accosted, when he was in Shechem. And now when his bones come back after being in Mitzrayim, having helped the brothers, and he's buried now in Shechem, right? That is when the tshuva is finally done. And I always think of this on Dafka, on the times of Yizkor. Yizkor is a time where, as we said, even though the real makor of Yizkor is the Gabay Yom Kippur. But since that Sof Kol Sof, in the end, the Yizkor is also on Yom Tov. And the giving of tzedakah on behalf of our beloved ones, that also gives us a certain amount of joy, and that's why we're doing it, allowed to do it actually on Yom Tov. So nothing can be of a greater yizkor when our lives, not only our money, when we're able to lead a life in which our parents, our spouses, or the ones who are beloved to us, they'd be proud of us, that we bring a merit to them. This is the ultimate message of Yizkor. So I wish you were met to all of you a Chag Kasher v'Sameach, and Be'ezrat Hashem we'll see each other sooner and not later. I might have one other video before Yom Tov. I'm not sure, but if not, Chag Sameach, and I'm looking forward to reconnect with all of you. If there's any questions or any comments on the Sfat Torah, then please contact me. And Be'ezrat Hashem also, I just wanted to tell those viewers, those members of the shul, sorry, who are part of our Gemara Express, that Be'ezrat Hashem, that we'll be starting sooner than usual after Pesach. So Chag Kasher v'Sameach, a happy and joyous Pesach to you, to all your families, and to Kol Klal Yisrael. Thanks very much, and have a Erev Tov.